Persona 4 Golden is the best Persona game in terms of characters. Spoilers for Persona 3, 4, and 5. If you're on the fence about playing Persona, get on the Persona playing side. I promise it's worth it. I love the Persona series. Every single game manages to touch my soul in a way that I can't imagine any other series doing. Like, whether it be an intro, or the music, or the story, or the antagonist, or just the look of the game, they always touch me inappropriately. Each game in its own right is a testament to the ability of a video game to not only tug on your heartstrings, but like completely tear them off. Despite each game being great in its own right, I believe that each one excels above its contemporaries in one way or another. In my opinion, Persona 3 excels in overall story quality and story boldness. Persona 5, it's the antagonist by a long shot. Akechi and Maruki are just miles better than any other protagonist in the Persona series. And for Persona 4, as you may remember me saying earlier, it's the characters by like the longest shot possible. Though it may sound like it, that's not a diss at the other game's characters. I still love them, and great things can still be great after being surpassed, I promise. I remember back when I was but a foolish boy on his first blind playthrough of Persona 4 Golden, thinking, these social links are pretty uniconic. Stupid, dumb bitch! That's why you failed to get the true ending on your first playthrough. Persona 4's social links are very different in that they are so compelling, it's crazy. For example, Nanako, I love her character. I think Kanji says it best. She's such a unique character archetype. Beyond being a child burdened by not only grief but by loneliness, she's also a fiercely independent child who's afraid of accepting that loneliness. And even more unique, her father, an unknowing perpetrator to her loneliness, is also a social link. It's really compelling to see both sides of a neglectful father-daughter relationship. At least in Persona, you know, real life is usually a lot less fun. And she dies, which is pretty big, but I kind of have mixed feelings on it, because I mean, she dies, it's extremely shocking, extremely unexpected, and then she just comes back. I like the reasoning for why she comes back, but it still feels kind of cheap, you know? Oh, and she's the reason we have heaven, so, you know, 10 out of 10. Another amazing social link, artificial intelligence Ebihara. I remember seeing a video about how the Moon Arcana, I still don't know how to say that, is the Luz Arcana. While it's kind of true for Mishima and the Gourmet King, AI does not deserve to be there. Yeah, she kind of sucks at first, but, you know, she changes as a person. She goes from a generic, unlikable rich girl to someone who you empathize with for being unwillingly pampered, and even more compelling, learning that the image she created for herself to escape her insecurities is the reason she's pampered, because like pretty privilege or something like that. And on top of that, despite her disapproval towards her pampering, she also dislikes who she was before the pampering. Ugly. She relies on her new exterior image to get people, specifically boys, specifically Daisuke, to like her, and her growth revolves around her becoming a kinder person who's aware of not only her exterior worth, but her interior worth. I love this character. I love this character so much that I don't even care that I lost like 4 hours of footage, including rank 6 through 8 of her social link. And you have a fake romance with her, which is fun, though her platonic ending is pretty painful. Not as painful as Yumi's though. This hurts so much. But see my point, only Persona 4 has such painful rejections because these characters are so human. It's hard to reject humans' romantic advances. You know, I would know a lot about that. Naoki, who's actually guest appearing from Guilty Gear, is also pretty unique, as his arc revolves around a main story event. He's pretty similar to Ai in that the extreme amount of pity that he's given due to his sister's death is much more of a burden than a comfort. And it's eventually made clear that despite his exterior treatment of his sister's death, he really does miss her and is of course pained by her death. And this line of dialogue really hammers that home. Man, this is a sad piece of dialogue. I love how his evasion of pain is portrayed. It's very unique. But that's just how the Persona 4 social link cookie crumbles. Why did I write this? They're all unique. And as much as I'd love to talk about Shu and Eri and Sayako, kinda, I have to talk about the best external social link in Persona 4. The Fox. Okay, on the gameplay. This is going to be quick. Baton Passless Persona gameplay is a little rough, a lot of wasted turns. Yukiko's castle is a torture device. Everything is a pain in the ass. All out attacks do 0 damage. You have no SP. Golden Hands are like if Hitler was reincarnated as an RPG enemy. And in the real world, certain stat gains are randomized, which isn't too bad, but because of the guide I was using, I had to do so much save abusing. Thank you, game FAQs. Some social links require so many points to rank up that it really makes you wonder if Atlas had a vendetta against ranking them up. Eri and Marie. And Yu is the only protagonist that never gets to use his true Persona in combat. I'm gonna go ahead and add feel to this section because Persona 4 really knocks it out of the park here. These character models are so cute. You know, Yukiko looks happy and all that. They're so funny looking and every movement is like a little derpy thing doing a thing. And from what I've seen, the original Persona 3 does this, but just a little less good. I just really love this style of character animation, and I'm honestly kind of scared to see where where Revival goes with its character models and overall game feel, because I feel like Persona 4 really perfected the look that it had. Though I'm sure original Persona 3 Glazers thought along the same lines, and I haven't seen any massive complaints. But I'll talk more about the remake later. And I think that's it. On to the important part. This is the best Persona team. Starting off, Yu Narukami, the only Persona protagonist to have an actual honest-to-God name. He was also the first protagonist to have full voice acting, though it kind of perpetually sounds like he's doing ASMR. He's also the only protagonist to sneeze, you gotta know this. According to character designer Shigenori Sojima, Yu is the blue Power Ranger, a real badass rebel not concerned with ideals such as justice. According to me, Yu is the only protagonist to canonically beat his meat. I like Yu, he's cool, and a lot of personality he has. Definitely one of my Persona 5 top protagonists. Next, Yosuke Hanamura. I'll come right out and say it. I never really bought into the Yosuke allegations. Yeah, maybe his shirt in the golden epilogue was pretty gay, but that could have just been an odd design choice, right? I mean, look at Kanji. I always thought that Yosuke was by far the straightest party member, and that all those Pinterest memes just wanted this ever so slightly zesty character to be gay just because. But I've recently discovered something that I can only presume all those Pinterest meme makers have known about all this time. There was a voiced Yosuke romance that was cut during Persona 4's development. This shocked me to my core. So I went to Reddit to get my opinion on the situation. There seemed to be a sentiment that Yosuke being a closeted homosexual made sense because of his homophobia towards kanji. You know, projection and all that. While I don't really believe he was ever homophobic towards kanji, everything he said to kanji in that regard seemed more like a jab or like a tease. He was the #1 pointer outer of his gayness. So I debated this internally for like an entire week or something, I don't know. My first thought was, wouldn't this have popped up when Yosuke faced his shadow? I mean, Kanji was clearly struggling with accepting his sexuality too, and his shadow made that very, very clear. Yosuke doesn't talk about anything even remotely close to sexuality, and these shadows are the manifestation of everything that you want to repress. Of all places for Yosuke being a closeted homosexual to pop up, it'd be here. But putting that aside for the sake of the argument, Yosuke doesn't really do anything gay. Yeah, he makes some offhanded remarks that could be interpreted as gay, but in my opinion, these seem much more akin to misspeaking, as opposed to an accidental reveal of a gay attraction. And around male characters, he's never really acting any differently or flirting or anything of the sort, and that's the only way for the writers to convey that he is gay, by showing it. As opposed to the romanceable girls in Persona, who almost always have sections where they're like flustered around the protagonist or flirting with him. Now, obviously, the mere existence of Yosuke's romance, cut or not, proves that at one point he was going to be gay, or if you want to be specific, bisexual. But as he stands in Golden, I don't personally think he's gay. Though I think it's more likely than not that his romance art will be unvaulted in Persona 4's remake. And that would be a massive step for Persona. First officially gay social link, first optionally gay protagonist, biggest selling point ever. It'd all be pretty great. Though I think that tweaks would need to be made to Yosuke's character to make it more clearly apparent that he's gay, because I don't really think the way he's presented in Golden conveys that. On top of all that, he's also a really layered character that I love. His desire to be a hero, his desire to find meaning in a world where meaning is harder to find than good Evangelion merch, his realistic initial disdain of Inaba, his amazing dialogue, which is so funny, I found myself making audible noises. The arc he goes on in accepting that even though Saki didn't like him, she was still an honest person and a hard worker with her own problems. And him coming to terms with the fact that he lived his life wanting to forget the things that brought him sorrow instead of facing them, and eventually finding his meaning and realizing that a constant in his life is that people rely on him. I noticed when playing that everyone's rank 11 has a dialogue box that sums up their character or their character arc pretty well. Yosuke's rank 11 summary of character is this. Of all the party members in Persona that have the necessary potential to carry their own solo story, Yosuke is definitely very high up there. But Akechi still comes out on top. Anyways, I love Yosuke's character and he's probably the best Persona, bro. But Junpei is pretty cool. I swear to God, her name is alternated between Chi and Chie. Chi is a silly little guy. She's basically Ryuji. They even have the same arcana, though she's much more layered than Ryuji because of the struggles she faces. One, her femininity. Persona 4, if nothing else, gives its characters very unique obstacles to overcome within their social link arcs, and Chi's is a great example. Obviously, I don't really struggle with my femininity, but I feel like I can really empathize with Chi. A. Her dichotomy between being traditionally feminine and being herself is a great conflict, and her dynamic with Yukiko is also a brilliant illustration of her deep-seated need to be a protector, to be relied on, as well as the validation she receives from it. Validation is a big part of her character, that's why she's green. She wants others to see her as feminine, she wants others to see her as strong, she wants others to rely on her, she wants to be a chariot. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but she is one of the few Persona characters that even my stupid fucking brain can connect to their arcana. And I like how her rank 11 sees her learning how to connect everything together. She makes the realization that history is all connected, that it creates the present, and that belief in each other between friends creates strength. Her rank 11 character summary is this, and again, she's pretty funny. You might start noticing a theme soon. Yukiko Amagi. Okay, fine, I'll admit it. Yukiko has the least compelling arc out of everyone on the investigation team. I mean, it's not a bad arc. It's just buried underneath a load of a lot more unique arcs. Yeah, it's probably a relatable desire to want someone to just take you away from your problems, but from a story perspective, it's a lot less engaging. Though I did enjoy her struggles with wanting to leave Inaba and her eventual realization that even though she kept within her mind a preconception that her life was on rails, the way that she decides to live her life is indeed up to her. The segments of her seeing that the people around her are there to support her and help her with the responsibilities that she has is also pretty nice. And her uphill battle with shitty news people, it kind of makes me wonder what that's like in real life. Overall, her arc is a nice story about taking control of your life and growing more responsible with the help of the people around you and your completely silent friend. Or in my case, more than that. Let's be honest here. Yukiko is the best romance option. She has the best romance scenes. What can I say? I don't care that she's almost by definition a basic choice. But really, to make up for her B+ arc, Yukiko was given a very, very funny personality. Seriously, she's the funniest character in the game. I love the way her lines are delivered in tandem with this portrait face. It's so funny.
この本何つってさ、おかげで俺がどんな恥ずかしめを受けたと思う？んな代物持ってっからでしょうが。親いる前に持ってこられるとか想像しねえだろ。
それ、女の子いるとこで話す？
へそくりってことじゃないの？
Her rank 11 is a really nice wrap up to her arc as well, like a little red bow. Her character summary is this. Yeah, you're about to get my sloppy recording seconds. I love her dynamic with Chi, A. Two friends relying on each other, both wanting to be strong for each other, both... Also, can we talk about this one winter outfit she has? Oh my god, it's so tough. Kanji is probably very relatable to a lot of people if I had to take a guess. Prejudice sucks ass. No one likes prejudice. And in the words of character designer Shigenori Sojima, it is my hope that people see in Kanji an unfortunate soul who suffers from prejudice. That is paraphrasing, I probably got that completely wrong. Kanji's kind of like an anti-Chi in that he wants to be viewed as masculine despite his traditionally feminine hobbies. But flipping that around, he also likes men, which is pretty gay, dude. Now, I'm not sure if this single Reddit post that I saw encapsulates like a large opinion that's held in the Persona community, but if you don't think Kanji is gay, you are wrong. He is gay. Like, for example, how do you explain this?
Oh, 密着。わかったぜ。これが密着計画のすべてなんすね。わかんな。怖えんだよ。
I want to hear it. Anyways, I respectfully disagree with you if you don't think Kanji's gay. Kanji wasn't only gay because he mistook Naoto for a boy and still liked him, but he's gay because he's gay. The layering of Kanji's character comes from the fact that the negative preconceptions certain people have of him because of what he chooses to do affects how he expresses himself. His arc is about not letting prejudice affect who he is on the inside, not about him mistaking himself for being gay, but still wanting to have feminine hobbies. Kanji is seen multiple times doing gay things, let's be honest here. Like, here, notice how he gets a nosebleed from looking at you and Yosuke, not Chi and Yukiko. I didn't even notice this, I will not lie to you. And you gotta love the arc Kanji goes on with making the kid the doll and being embarrassed about it and then eventually going on to mass produce them for his mom's shop. It's so wholesome. His realization of the true meaning of strength is also pretty nice. Strength is almost always something more important mentally than physically, and Kanji realizing that is a great way to grow his character. His rank 11 starts out kind of weird. I really thought Kanji found a girl and that he would be the second Persona team member to have Huz, but no, it's just his mom. Really weird way to phrase that, man. Anyways, after getting past that, his rank 11 is a remarkably nice look into Kanji and the appreciation he has for his mother. And honestly, I felt my heart being tugged on just a little bit. Though in Persona 4 Arena, he's already telling her to shut up again, so I mean, Kanji's a great representation of what it really means to be strong and masculine. Though, just saying that makes me feel like I'm coping. Kanji's rank 11 character summary is this. Just don't misinterpret it.
Ladies and gentlemen!
Rise is Rise, you know. Rise is the type of character that would be really easy to make lame. A generic, boring idol who quit fame because it isn't all it's cracked up to be. But instead, she leaves idling for more unique reasons. She leaves due to the constant Rossetti persona that she has to uphold, making her feel like she's losing sight of herself, of Rise. But this is something no piece of media has ever done. They write Rise's arc in such a way that she comes to terms with the fact that she made a mistake. Over the course of her arc, you see Rise inconspicuously, or if you're a professional text reader, conspicuously waver in her decision to leave showbiz. It's made clear that she really did love showbiz and only left out of perceived necessity for fear of completely losing herself. She had fans who she enjoyed bringing joy to. She was a passionate and talented performer, but none of it would have mattered to Rise if she had lost herself. Rise eventually sees, that it's possible to be more than one person, and that in fact most people are multiple people, and they can all be you. Rise and Rossetti can coexist. Though I thought it was a pretty weird choice to make Rise's TV world place a strip club, and have her say that she wants to bear it all. According to character designer Shigenori Sojima, the reason it was a strip club is because Rise wants to be seen. I just feel like this was someone on the team's excuse to have a teenage girl say sexualized things. But it of course wasn't character designer Shigenori Sojima, because he had no interest in drawing things of sexual nature. The strip club setting would have made sense if Rise really did want to like be seen with less clothes on, but she wants to be seen as a person, so, you know, a strip club is kind of the opposite of that. I liked her personality a lot too, a very cool blend of over-the-top anime cuteness, I'm putting quotation marks up, and a down-to-earth person. Her dynamic with Kanji is pretty weird though. If I didn't know any better, I'd say she fucking hated Kanji. Rise's rank 11 is also a little odd. Her biggest fan decides to stop outwardly supporting her because her friend liked Rise's replacement more. And that's kind of depressing, you know? A friendship that's kept going by a lie is not a friendship. But putting that aside, Rise's speech here is yet another nice wrap up and a great projection of the strength Rise found over the course of the game. Her character summary is this. She's the best Navi, she's a great character, she's the lover's arcana, she wants you very publicly, but it's still not enough to get me to romance her. Teddy is very similar to Morgana, but if I had to choose the better mascot character with amnesia, it'd be Morgana, but Teddy's a pretty interesting guy. Morgana would be so jealous that Teddy gets to be a human. Teddy is a shadow that gained a conscience. A conscience that's really porny. There are some scenes with Teddy that do add layers to his character, scenes showing his loneliness, his feelings of alienation, but most of the time he's just comic relief, or creepy to a point of disbelief. This scene is so insane. Who approved this? It's frankly insane that Teddy as a mascot character got the bodily fluid end of the stick. He's rarely given characterization despite the pretty good foundation his character has, and that's a little sad. Don't even get me started on how flanderized he is in Persona Q. He does literally nothing but be jealous and be freaky. It's actually the worst thing to happen to a Persona character ever. No competition. At least he's funny a lot of the time. Teddy's rank 11 is a really unfortunate reminder that he is a well-written character deep down, but just is never treated as one. It's also pretty good evidence of something that I saw someone say on Reddit, that Teddy is a misunderstood character and that he's not a creepy guy, but just a guy with the mind of a child. This is something I don't really know about. Maybe, but then again, maybe not. His rank 11 character summary is this. Oh, and one final thing. When it comes to Persona games, I'm always playing them in Japanese because I prefer how the characters sound. I don't like English dubs, but gun to my head, I'd be willing to play with them. Except when it comes to Teddy's English voice. It just doesn't fit him.
Man, you didn't notice until now? How panicked were you?
Tum-ta-dum! I got a pair ready for Chie-chan too. Here you go!
お前どんだけテンパってたんだよ。
じゃんじゃじゃーん、ちえちゃんにも用意してあるくま。はい、ちえちゃんの。
It's not annoying enough, it's not high-pitched enough, it's not childlike enough. I know this is relatable to approximately 0% of you because everyone plays in English, but you know, Teddy's English voice sounds like a guy, but Teddy is a Teddy. is a child. God, why is Persona so weird? Naoto has quite possibly one of the most unique arcs I've seen in a game. As all of us male feminists know, women's lives suck because of the wage gap. But really, it's an unfortunate truth that there are millions of losers in the world that would make women's lives harder simply because they're women, and Naoto is a victim of this shitty reality. But she's determined to overcome it by any means necessary. Her way of circumventing gender inequality is a lot more unique than you might expect, but not really because you've played the game. Naoto decides to counter her gender disadvantage by pretending to be a man. Now, this is yet another thing where I'm unaware of how large the group of people who believe this are, but Naoto is not transgender. This is all the proof you need, but just in case someone needs more, the reason Naoto pretends to be a man is so she can be respected by the asshole detectives surrounding her. It's not because she struggles with gender dysphoria, it was because she felt it was necessary to be a man to succeed in her line of work. Her arc is about learning to believe in what you truly are, to believe that you can earn the respect of others through actions, not through preconceptions or premonitions. I am not transgender, but if you allow me to be so bold as to take an assumption as to what accepting who you truly are means in relation to transgenderism, it's accepting that your biologically assigned gender is not the gender you feel most comfortable with. When Naoto accepts who she really is, that realization is not among the things she accepts. I can see the cornball nature in the fact that I just said all of that to make an argument that a video game character isn't transgender, but these are some of my favorite characters ever, and it's annoying to see them be mischaracterized. Naoto's rank 11 has her ponder the meaning of moving on or creating new habits out of mistakes due to the nature of man, this is not a pun, being that he will make the same mistakes despite his ability to infinitely learn. The answer that she finds is as long as you have someone more important to you than anything, you'll be able to grow, despite your faults and failures. Those you hold dear bolster your ability to... Her rank 11 character summary is this. And another complaint about the English dub. I know. Naoto just straight up sounds like a girl.
Huh? School? Of course I'm going to school.
Then I'll meet you at the gates after school tomorrow.
学校？もちろん行ってっけど。
じゃあ明日の放課後、校門まで迎えに行くよ。
In Japanese, it really does sound like Naoto could have been a boy or a girl since her voice is so ambiguous. Obviously, this is extremely biased since I already know that Naoto's a girl, but I'm going to perform an experiment with people who don't know anything about Persona and ask them what gender they think each voice sounds like to see if I even have a point. Oh man, thank God I'm done with that. That was all one take, believe it or not. Now, what was that other thing I needed to talk about? I've got to admit, I have a lot less to say about the golden part of Persona 4 compared to all I had to say about the royal part of Persona 5. But I still do have something to say. I've got to admit, Marie isn't the best character. I mean that in a literal sense because Maruki's the best character. Marie is a good character, though it struck me as odd that in a game all about facing yourself, the new special golden character had the least personal feeling facing yourself moments. I think the reason Persona characters shine in the way that they do is because all their stories are so personal and contained, and their characters build off of the things that they face in life. Marie is kind of an exception to this. She has no memories to drive her forward, or, technically she does, but you know what I mean. Her social link is all about trying to obtain her memories. But I feel like her overall arc is weaker than those of the investigation team members and really most of the other external social links. I like Marie as a person, I like that, you know what I mean. The highlights of her character to me are her last two ranks, where she accepts that even if she can't get her memories back, she can make new ones with the friends she's made. It's nice, it's heartwarming, it really rounds out Marie's character. And then you have the rest of her character. Marie actually turns out to be this thing that I can't pronounce, sent to spy on man and end the world. Sounds a little familiar, huh? I just am not the biggest fan of this. As I said earlier, I like the personal, contained feelings of Persona arcs. Marie having to accept that she's the end of the world sounds cool on paper, but I don't know. Maybe it's the lack of consequences from this arc. In Persona 3, you know that Cease is going to stop the end of the world, but they still manage to shock you by killing the guy from Persona 3. It adds weight to what happened. It shows that even despite the strength of bonds man can form and the strength that sprouts from said bonds, he cannot stop death, at least not without consequences. In Persona 5 Royal, the consequences of stopping Maruki are even more profound, in that it's not the fact that something was stopped, it's that something continued, an imperfect world. In Persona 4, Marie just happens to remember that it actually is possible to save her, and then the investigation team does, and then it's all back to normal. I like the inversion of the facing yourself aspect of her character, since she was forced to remember what she truly was and face herself, but it just doesn't hit the same as the rest of the main cast's big moments do. I know there's a lot of symbolism with Marie's character, and I'm in no way saying she's a bad character. Like, I wasn't fighting the urge to punch my screen, but she's just not as great as I know Persona characters can be. Though she is the second baddest Persona 4 girl, so maybe I can change my opinion. Now for this funny guy. Adachi is kind of similar to Marie, as in, I like him as a person, but when it comes to his arc writing, not so much. Adachi is a funny guy, a laid back guy, but really, he's a murderer, a manipulator, and a creep? Ever since I saw this meme, I've kind of been wondering about that part. Adachi is a unique character, who would have guessed? But I am kind of torn on the quality of his character. He kills people because they piss him off. He hates the world shit on him, and he decided to shit on the world in return. No wiping. It's probably good writing, but I don't know. It just doesn't tickle me in the same way other antagonistic Persona forces did. I get that he's meant to be like a mirror of you, in that he was given immense power and had great potential, but he had no friends, so he turned evil. It's just that the writing meant to make you sympathize with him is weaker than it is in comparison to, say, Akechi. Perhaps vanilla Persona 5 Akechi was comparable to Adachi, but as soon as Royal came out, I feel like Adachi was completely blown out of the water. His way of murdering people through manipulating Namatame is pretty cool, very layered. It's a nice way to show how much of a petty shit pea Adachi can be. Overall, I just didn't feel what I think the writers wanted me to feel for Adachi. I get what they were going for, and maybe I'm only being a bitch about this because I can't get Akechi's dih out of my mouth, but feel free to disagree with me down below and make me love Adachi. Also, before I end this segment, I gotta say, Adachi did give birth to probably the most creepy bad Persona ending. Look at this face, bruh. It looks like analog horror. I bet Ren and you are very, very proud to have a social link with a murderer. Now for the final part of the golden part, ranking all of the golden epilogue outfits. This is it. Time to conclude this long and veiny video. Finally, God, I fucking hate Bot on Your Boy videos. Persona 4 Golden holds a very special place in my heart. I feel like a copy and pasted YouTuber just saying that, but no other words come to mind. Yeah, it has flaws, a lot of flaws, but if you imagine these scenes weren't written by grown men, they all fade away. Persona 4 Golden is one of those games where like 90% of the stars align. Well-written, complex, and relatable characters, beautiful, hype-inducing, atmospheric music, antagonists that don't come in the form of a mustache-twirling guy, but from within the characters themselves. A story that, even with all I don't like about it, is enthralling, creative, and unique. And most importantly, bug-catching technology. Over the last month and a half that I've spent reflecting on Persona 4, I think I've finally come to accept something. Persona is a very character-driven series, and Persona 4 has the best characters, IMO, so I think I'm finally willing to admit that Persona 4 is my favorite Persona game. Don't fuck up the remake, Atlas, please. That's the one that all the new people are gonna play. Anyways, I think it's finally time to answer the question in the title. Life is a scary thing. There's always something looming on the horizon, something to scare you, something that'll make you question your ability to overcome. These catalysts of fear are innumerable and unique to each person. However, there is one thing that is perhaps the hardest to overcome regardless of who you are. Yourself. Nobody is ever exactly who they want to be. Nobody has nothing to hide. Nobody's fearless. Nobody is capable of everything alone. The value of having someone by your side can never be overstated. With someone standing by you, you can look forward to tomorrow. You can be what you want to be. You can do what you want to do. You can look the things you fear most in the eye. You can look yourself in the eye. That's the meaning of friendship. To know that no matter how hard you fall, your friend will always help you up. To know that no matter how afraid you are, your friend will always stand by your side. To know that no matter what you wish to repress, no matter who you wish you were, no matter who you are, your friend will always listen and help you conquer and accept what lies deep within you. The greatest gift one can ask for is a friend, someone that no matter the circumstance will always be there, someone that one day just might help you face yourself.